Hey everybody, welcome. If you are prepping for your exam, this is two topics that will come into your Solutions Architect Associate exam, probably your CPE as well, where they talk about simple queuing service and a simple notification service. These services do present themselves in your exams very often, and they want to know that you know the difference between the two, what they stand for, and the use cases for those. So on my left-hand side, I've got the simple queuing service, SQS, and at the bottom, you can see I've got multiple orders coming from point of sales devices. And then I've got a dispatching system on top, order dispatch, that will process those orders. Now, if we have a tightly coupled environment, what we typically will find, which is an anti-pattern, is that if we have that and we send directly to that ordering service, and the moment that ordering service goes down, we're in trouble because those devices can't send to them anymore. So we want to undo that and decouple our environment and make sure that they are highly available for our services. So what we do is we put a queue in the middle. And when I put a queue in the middle, these point of sales devices, they will go and they will pop their transactional files, which has a size of 256K maximum. It's important to know for SQS. I'll pop that over there that my message size is 256 kilobyte. And that is typically what you'll find with a message on SQS. So now I've got these messaging files going through and they are in the queue somewhere. Let's go draw them out. So I've got them in this queue, and I will go and draw them out. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are the messages that's in the queue. My order dispatching system. Now, I want you to look at high availability because a simple queuing service, it is highly available. It is an AWS service, so they make sure that it is up and running for when you have a need for it. Now, what happens is that this order dispatch system, when it now needs to process these records, will go and access those records, process them out. And a couple of things happen with SQS, which is important to know. When that ordering system is busy processing these messages, they become invisible for other processing services as well. If they can't be managed, if they can't be processed by that ordering dispatch system, they become visible again. So this way, you are sure that you don't have two order dispatching services handling the same request at the same time. So the moment it's done, those messages will disappear out of the queue. And again, those dispatching systems or your POS systems is able to go and push new messages through. And again, it can go and push those messages in the queue. And there we go. And there's some more messages in there. What happens if this order dispatching system, if that fails? If it fails, now this is really quite cool because what happens is my messages stays in the queue until I can get another service up and running. So again, it's easy for me to go and say, cool, let me go create another order dispatching service. I'll go and have that one, and I'll have this new one go look at that queue and start processing those messages out of that queue for when I have a need for them, and it will go and process those messages out. Another good thing about this is that I could have multiple order dispatching services depending on the use case, depending on the need, the demand that's coming in. I could, for instance, have multiples of these. And there we go, take that away, take that away. I could now have two ordering services that wants to process messages out. So again, this one will then handle some of the other messages that is now also available for me that is in the queue, and it's able to process those out as well. Now, SQS, we've seen the message size. One of the other things that's also important is that we see this as a polling service. So it polls, right? It polls for a message. Those order dispatching services, they go and they poll for new messages. And there's two kinds as well. There's long polling and there's short polling that you can do as well. So there's two different kinds of polling. Long poll, it will wait about 20 seconds, and then it will try again and process a message. Short poll is where it continuously asks, check that queue for message, and it checks and it checks and it checks. And what happens with that is that many times we found that there is no messages in there, so there is an empty response coming back, and that isn't very efficient. So setting up long poll can make sure that when you do pull into that queue, that there's actually messages for you to be processing out as well. I also mentioned the fact that we could now have, again, as our needs increase, there's my polling, as my need increase, we could have multiple order dispatching services, maybe in an auto scaling group that will now go and request new messages. So we could then go and set up another one and then have another order dispatching service going through. And we could use that one as well. And the great thing about all of this is that my queuing service will just grow, right? It grows, and as new messages are coming in, it is able to manage and handle those messages in there. So it is a polling service. It has a message size that we can see in there as well. These are aspects of a simple queuing service that becomes fairly important. Now, if I shift over to the other side, a simple notification service, this service we typically see as a pub-sub service. So there's a publisher. The publisher will go and publish to a topic. Now you'll have subscribers. And what a subscriber will do is, and these at the bottom could all be subscribers, and those subscribers could be accessing these services that I have. So there's my subscribers, and they are subscribing via email or via a push notification service, or even some other services as well that they can manage, like a Lambda function, or it could even go to a queuing service as well. So we could be sitting with a queuing service in there as well as a subscriber too, and we could send it through to a queuing service as well. So multiple different ways that we can use a simple notification service. What happens is that my subscribers, they go and they subscribe to these services. So I'll go subscribe, 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 subscribe to that service. The moment a publisher publish a message to that topic, what happens now is that those who subscribe to that service will receive that message coming through from the publisher by the topic that they've subscribed to, and send that out. So it is seen as a pub-sub service. You'll see this term coming up very often. So it's a pub-sub service. Right. Publisher and a subscriber, it's a pub-sub service as well, where simple queuing service will poll. What we'll find with a simple notification service is that it pushes messages out. Right? And again, our use cases becomes important. I'll use a simple notification service. Maybe if it is a server, and this server could be saying, hey, I am currently going down, and this could be my server that I've got, and that server could be saying, I'm currently going down. It's sending an alert through, and that alert can then go to a topic. Maybe I've got people that is looking after the server, and they'll get that message that will be pushed from that topic via email. It could even be an SMS as well, sent to those users who's then able to action those services specifically as well. So that's the difference between a simple queuing service versus a simple notification service. What you'll need to remember is that the one simple queuing service is a polling service. It's got a message size limit. Simple notification service is a pub-sub service, and it pushes messages out. Other function that it also has, which many developers find very cool, is that it can do a fan out. So why I mentioned that is because our queuing service is a one-to-one relationship. So you'll see that one polling service is sending to one queue, and that one queue is being accessed via my order dispatching service. Fan out, a publish SNS service, simple notification service, can send to multiple different email accounts or SMSs at the same time. So it fans out as well. So we see that as a one-to-many, and I will speak to that again So it is a one-to-many service as well. So what we can do with a fan out is, if I've got a service that needs to go to multiple queues, I can use a simple notification service that then is able to send to multiple queues for me as well. So I could go and say, hey, you know what? Send it to that queue and also send it to the other queue as well. So I could have it sent to two different queues, queuing service, and there as well I've got a simple queuing service. So it's able to send to multiple queues and fan out that message, and those queues could have their own um, publishers as well, or order dispatching services here at the bottom that could be handling that messages for me as well. So there it is, and that one could also then have one that it can handle. Maybe the same message is being sent to a database, and maybe the other one is being sent for database processing, call that Pro. And then the other one is maybe being sent to a logging service that I could have as well, so that I can have a log of those messages coming through as well. So these services, they do play together quite well. There is a difference between them that I think is important to know for your exams as well. And hopefully this brings some of this into context where I'll use the one over the other one, and it is of use to you for your exams, or maybe just to get a better understanding of a simple queuing service versus a simple notification service. That is it. I wanted to do a quick one on these comparisons. So enjoy your day further. Cheers, everybody. Bye.